So, the one thing that my dad and I have in common is that we've both stolen things that are too big to carry. Well, that and scotch. We both love scotch. But other than that, we kind of have this like very fractured relationship. We're not very close. We don't have a very deep connection. We're kind of like ships who disagree passing in the night. But we have scotch, so that's good. So last Christmas we're drinking scotch, and we're sitting in his kitchen, and he starts like telling me these stories about like days of being wild and being young and free, and like running over street signs with his car, and like building parachutes for the family cat, and like putting like Mad Dog in the wheel wells of his car and sneaking into the drive-ins, which is actually a story he told me when he was younger, and I always remembered that one for some reason. But so he's telling me these stories, and I'm a little drunk, you know, I'm feeling a little toasty, I'm feeling a little warm-spirited. I had just gotten back from LA where I was visiting my boyfriend and my best friend, and we had all lived in different cities at the time. And we had like 48 hours together in LA, so we were like, how do we mash all of our love together and put it into 48 hours and have this really meaningful experience? So we were drunk, and we had come out of this warehouse party, and we wander out. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and people are kind of dissipating, and we're wandering through this industrial complex. And all of a sudden, it's like this Chinatown mirage appeared. We're in Chinatown. It's like this Chinatown mirage appears, and there's this giant fucking rainbow bus, this school bus, that's just like parked in the lot. And we're like, yes. And so we go over to the bus, and it's like straight out of Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test. It's like Neil Cassidy's like sitting at the wheel, like absolutely. And we hoist each other through the windows, and it's all AstroTurf and pink carpet on the walls, I guess for like when the ride gets wild, and all this crazy stuff. It's like all these like Nag Champa pornos rolled into one. So we spend all this time in this bus, and we're like thinking about like orgies, and like maybe we'll do an orgy, and then we see something that's like a little bit more interesting than that, which is that there's a key in the ignition, and we're like, yes! So then we spend like an hour trying to start this goddamn bus, and it won't start, and it won't turn over, though there's gas in it. We know there's gas. And it's turning, and it's not starting, and it's coughing, and the magic is like dissipating, and people are starting to look downtrodden. I'm like, damn it, we only have 48 hours, we have to start this goddamn bus. And then it turns, and everybody goes silent before they all start yelling in unison, Mexico. Mexico. And I'm like, all right, I guess we'll go to Mexico. And then I start driving, and I'm like, hold on, I'm drunk. Also, LA freeways, no thank you. And so Shane takes over, and he drives the bus, and we're pulling out, and we get on the highway, and we're going, and we find the registration. We're like, oh my god, there's 3 days left. That's the perfect amount of time to go to Mexico. That's awesome. And then the exit to Mexico is like approaching, and we're like, we're gonna go to Mexico. And then somebody says the word passport, and we're like, fuck. We don't care now, but we'll probably care on the way back in. So we don't go to Mexico. We go to Santa Monica, and we skinny dip, and we sleep in the bus, and it's the most beautiful experience, and it's better than Mexico. And we put it back where we found it the next morning. And I like kind of tell my dad the story, but not the whole thing. Not the like sex wonder bus part. But I tell him, I was like, there's a bus, like we kind of moved it. And he like looks at me with these like scotch bright eyes. And he like gets really silent. He's like, one time I stole a plane and I flew it to Atlantic City. And this just sense of pride wells in the kitchen, and in that moment, he was my father and I was his daughter.